Carnivorous Caves by M.W. Day 11. The movies don't do darkness justice. As a 2-week veteran of being underground, I can tell you for a fact that you can't see shit. I've lost track of how many times I've tripped and fallen on my face. The others swear I'm just uncoordinated, and honestly, I'm not ruling that out. Another week down here and I'll surely be concussed. Day 12. You know, I never really thought mazes were all too difficult. Turns out they're a lot easier when they have a way out. Desmond swears that a cave-in must have covered up the cave opening, but I blame the navigator. Day 15. I've officially been removed from my position as navigator. Webb claims he can have us out of here within 2 days, but I think he's full of it. GPS tech isn't all that great underground, but I'm not sure a guy who needs glasses is the best choice to lead. It's honestly hard enough to see down here, although it's not as if I had done a great job of it. Desmond has been keeping us sane, though. Guy was smart enough to repurpose some scanning equipment into a speaker. Webb has some old recordings saved, and we've been rocking out to his community theater performances. He plays a killer barber, I'll tell you that. Day 18. 2 days my ass. Rocks are cool and all, but seeing the same ones over and over makes you lose interest. And I've entirely lost interest. I miss the sunshine, the fresh air, literally anything not found in abundance down here. There's a sense of scale you can't quite grasp until you've been underground. It's like trying to squeeze a size 10 foot into a size 6 shoe. It may fit, but you'll walk with a limp forever. Day 19. The three of us finally had the what's next talk. Supplies are getting low. We have no idea what we're doing, and this cave system is way more expansive than anticipated. None of us have any idea how far underground we are. Webb suggested we just keep moving on the path we're already on, arguing that backtracking now would be pointless. Desmond's plan is to split up, jinkies, and mark the cave walls as we each travel down separate tunnels. His plan won out and we depart tomorrow morning. Hopefully we made the right decision. Day 23. We've been split up for 4 days now. I've been leaving white slash marks in chalk on the walls as I pass through. We agreed when, or if, one of us makes it out, we'll send help and the markings should, in theory, help them navigate. Day 24. Thirst is becoming a real problem. I'm down to 1 last gallon, and am having to ration both that and the very little food I have left. There's a possibility that a water source could appear further underground, but that would require luck, which, given the current situation, is something none of us seem to have. Speaking of us, I hope the others are managing. I know that personally I'm jealous of Desmond's walking stick. We didn't know each other before our time here, but I very much value the time I've spent with them. I never thought I'd miss hearing amateurs perform show tunes, but you really haven't heard Hamilton until it's done by a cast of middle-aged white men. My time with these men made being a mole man pretty tolerable. Day 27. I don't really know how to feel right now. I walked right past the mark initially. It wouldn't have been the first one I passed. The tunnels are more complicated and seem to eat their own tail. This mark, however, caused me to do a double take. It wasn't one of mine. I'm not sure which of my colleagues left it, but it worries me. If I feel like I'm going in circles but I'm finding marks left by others, then where the hell have I been going? Perhaps I've bitten off more than I can chew. Day 29. I know whose marker that was now. Webb and I ran into each other, literally. I had my head turned as I rounded a corner and we collided, sending us both stumbling backwards. Our tunnels must have converged somewhere along the way. The initial thoughts we had were the worst-case scenario, that we're trapped down here with no way out. That all the various tunnels, sub-tunnels, sub-sub-tunnels we explored led nowhere. We each have about a week's worth of food and water left. At this point, I don't know if we'll get out of here at all. Our only hope is Desmond. If he finds a way out, then hopefully someone can reach us in time. Day 32. A planned 7-day-long expedition has now crossed 30 days, and I'm beginning to accept my fate. This is it. This is where I'll pass away. Someone must have realized we've been missing by now, right? Webb has been talking about his family, and I can't imagine the mental toll that must be taking on him. I don't envy the raw deal he's been handed. In a morbid sense, I'm pretty lucky. I have no one on the outside that will mourn me. Me withering away in this cave wouldn't keep anyone up at night. I think I'm going to give my spare food and water to him. He needs it more than I do. He needs his life more than I need mine. Day 35. I heard something. It was faint, and faded quickly. Webb and I are following the direction of the noise. This is the most excited I've seen him in weeks. The man is positively giddy about this. I'd prefer to err on the side of caution, but this has given Webb renewed purpose, and who am I to deny a man that? Day 36. We found Desmond's backpack. There wasn't much left in it, but we did manage to find some water, a few snack bars, and his pocket knife. Why did he leave it here? Webb speculated that he may not have anything worthwhile left to carry. A logical conclusion, considering our own supply issues. Something feels wrong, though. It makes no sense that none of us have been able to find a way out. And how have we found our way back to Desmond's things? Initial scans of this cave system did not make it seem nearly this large. I mean, we've been traveling down here for over 3 weeks. Miles and miles and miles we've walked by now. How is this possible? Day 38. The sound seems to repeat every so often. It doesn't sound natural. Webb is a man possessed, and I still don't have the heart to tell him how I feel. We're done for. I snuck the rest of my supplies into his bag. Hopefully he's able to make it out of here. He'll be able to survive longer than me. Death is oddly black and white once you've accepted it, and I have a lot of time to think about it. I'm leaving within the hour. Me being here will only kill him faster. I'm heading back down the path we came from and accepting fate. If my life is going to end, then hopefully it'll end saving another. Day 42. I'm not even sure why I'm still walking. Is it out of habit? Mindless walking, mindlessly opening and closing Desmond's pocket knife. I swear I've seen these cave walls so many times they blend together. I don't know much about psychology, but something must have snapped in my head after all this time. It feels like that's only natural. If you've lived underground for 3 weeks and aren't a little stir-crazy, then you might already be insane. The next few days feel like a natural end for me. I've been out of food for 4 days now, and it's readily apparent. All I can feel is my stomach twisting and turning as it yearns for food. I'm hoping I just slip into unconsciousness. Being awake as I starve to death doesn't seem like a good time. Day 43. I'm going to assume that brain fog and hearing things are part of the starvation process. The sound is back. Faster now. It's repeating over and over and over again. I guess it could be me passing by the same sound Webb and I were following earlier. I am backtracking after all. But it just doesn't feel real to me. Not much does anymore, really. Maybe it's better this way. Day 44. Desmond didn't get out. His bloody walking stick and desiccated corpse are lying on the ground next to me. Or at least what's left of his body. It's mostly bones and mush now. I don't know how this happened. Is this a hallucination? I pray that it is, because the alternative is much more disconcerting. Day 45. The sound is getting louder. Part of me thinks my mind is telling itself what it wants to hear, that this could mean survival. I completely understand the feeling Webb was talking about when we set out in pursuit of the sound source. It's a reason for being, a reason to live. That's something you don't really find in abundance while you're hopelessly trapped underground. Day 47. He's dead. We're dead. I'm dead. Something's here with us, hunting us. Webb is a husk. His body has been mauled, shredded, consumed. Flesh peeled from bone, sinew sliced from skin. Whatever did this was starving. It may be surviving, but we aren't. I'm not. Day 50. Whatever it was is gone, for now. I stayed to look for Webb's supplies, but they aren't here. His bones are still here, but they're different. Nod. His once lanky frame now lay stripped of any defining characteristics, and his glasses lay shattered on the cave floor. This was a brutal death. My friends were nothing but a meal, energy for this beast, sustenance. That beast will hunger again, and I'm all that's left for it to sustain itself. Day 52. Whatever this monster is, I almost don't blame it anymore. I'd do anything to never be this hungry again. These caves suck the life out of you. Death happened to my friends before they met their fate. Our humanity was stripped away by these caves until I had nothing left. Day 54. I haven't eaten in 9 days. I'm struggling to find the energy to stay upright, emaciated and reduced to crawling. Is this worth it? I worry if I'm alone with my thoughts any longer, it won't be the beast that kills me. Day 59. I think I've begun to understand this monster. Whatever it takes to survive, right? To cut to the point, I've bought myself more time to be rescued. It was painful, but my hunger is satiated for now. I'm no longer able to walk. My only hope is someone finding me and carrying me out of here. I can't change what I've done, but I can regret it. I don't deserve to survive. Day 63. I've eaten all there is. There's nothing left. I'm sorry. The previous messages were a collection of excerpts from the recovered journal of geologist Stephen Chianti. Chianti, leading a team of 2, embarked on a geological survey into a cave system that was uncovered in the wake of a magnitude 8.1 earthquake off the coast of New Zealand. The journal details events occurring during the time the trio of geologists spent lost underground. It also documents various interactions with Chianti's crew and alleged victims, David Webb and Robert Desmond. A later expedition into the cave system discovered both the partially dismembered remains of the author and his journal. The journal, in full, has since been published and sold internationally, with all the profits benefiting the Webb and Desmond families. The original copy is on loan and on display at various museums around the world throughout the year. A Face in the Window by Dominik Ainslie. What does it want? That pale, gaunt face staring out of the corner of my window, peering out from the wet darkness. I think it's confused or scared. Those lidless, doll-like eyes won't stop looking, a ceaseless stare that would frighten anyone, but me. Does the rain not bother it? It's not just any old rain. It's the kind that thumps on your head, telling you in no certain terms, it is raining. Yet there that thing sits. I might walk over to it. Maybe I'll bang on the window. Or perhaps I'll just sit here, waiting. The chains will hold it until I say otherwise. Desperation can make one do terrible things, especially if it's their only salvation. The town calls me a hero. I save them from this thing. But if they knew what I have done, I doubt they'd be able to tell us apart. To think it was preying on them like cattle. And now I wonder if it fears me, that innocent face by the window. I decided earlier that I would finish it off. My last act upon this wretched soul. Maybe it knows what I'm going to do. Good. I've had my fun, and there's no more garlic in the kitchen. Thinking about it, I hope the thing stays exactly where it is. I'm going to watch it for a few more hours, and then, come dawn, there will only be one of us in this town. Secret Swamp by Prittster95. It's a swamp in the middle of nowhere. What the hell are you supposed to do? It's been approximately 40 seconds since the engine completely cut out. And all very brief, albeit impassioned attempts to start the car again normally have proven futile. You let out a heavy sigh as you open the door, step out into the thick, musty air, and head over to the front of the vehicle. You're not sure what you're looking for, but you sure as hell know that a fine layer of mist completely covering the entire engine isn't normal. This is what you are confronted with upon lifting the hood. The mist fails to dissipate as you quickly pass your fingers through it. It doesn't even appear to react to contact at all. It's almost as if it's a hologram projected from the inside of the engine block. The atmosphere is greatly unsettling to you. You may hear an occasional amphibian croak in the distance, but apart from that, the air holds a weighty silence. The silence teases your senses, as if something lurks upon your peripheral vision. All you see is an endless ocean of trees and vines, flanking either side of the damp road you are standing on. As you're waiting for your call to roadside assistance to make it through, the unnatural appearance of the road carving straight through the organic formations of the swamp stands out to you. The dial tone is never ending, the humidity relentless upon your skin. You can't take being exposed to these invisible elements any longer and slam the hood closed with your free hand before ducking back into the car. Closing your door appears to dampen the effect of the weighted silence. You absent-mindedly try the ignition once more, feeling the mechanism rotate into a silent answer. The failure to start triggers an eerie wave of goosebumps, and you get a faint impression that your subconscious knows something that you don't. Suddenly, the texture of the steering wheel seizes your attention. You're staring deeply into the grooves of the material, captivated by an odd feature. It takes a second, but you realize that you're seeing blue tones reflected in the wheel that don't match the ambient light of the environment that surrounds you. You feel compelled to grip the wheel with both hands, so you pocket your phone before you do so. A blinding shaft of light engulfs you and your vehicle upon taking hold of the wheel. You're squinting through a pure white light, trying to make anything out beyond the windscreen. A brief moment of focus renders two headlights fast approaching you head-on. You're instinctively yanking on the wheel in an effort to swerve from the approaching vehicle. When did your car start moving? It doesn't matter. You're spinning out now. The screeching of tires on the tarmac forms a visceral scream. You swear you can feel the sound clawing at the surface of your skin, as your eardrums writhe within. Adrenaline shoots through your arms, a jolt traveling down to your wrists, prompting you to turn the wheel in an effort to wrangle control over the spin. But it's too late. You feel an impact on the rear left of the vehicle, and the entire right-hand side of the car begins to rise in an immediate response. You may have assumed moments like these unfold in slow motion, but your hurtling journey through the air embodies a blur through time. You've lost a sense of which way is up, but soon find it again once the motion has reached an abrupt end, and gravity tugs from above your head. You're held in place by your seatbelt, which you do not remember refastening. After hanging in your inverted seat for a couple of seconds to catch your breath, you release the seatbelt and crumple to the ceiling of the car. You can tell the entire interior has been compressed by the impact, as claustrophobia sinks in. Your escape route is through the windshield, kicking it out, like they do in the movies. Once emerged from the wreckage, you look towards the road you were on. It sits atop a small incline, bordered now by a mangled metal barrier, presumably where you collided with it. The border of the barrier remains unbroken, despite being bent into a new shape. You glance back at your car, a steaming mound of metal, glass, and rubber. Everything is illuminated in moonlight. There are no streetlights. You're standing on a grassy surface, not a damp swamp. There is a potent silence, only accompanied by the crackle of metal settling behind you. You reach into your pocket for your phone, only to find it empty. It must have flown out while you were tumbling through the air. There's no way you're diving back into the wreckage to find it. So you proceed up the small incline to the mangled barrier. You're standing at the apex of a hairpin bend in the road. There's no sign of the other vehicle, just the skid marks of your own, a chaotic trail spewing from the point of impact. The textures of the tarmac are crawling. You quickly divert your eyes upward, towards the other side of the road. On the other side lies a thick forest. Static trees stand tall. These ones are without vines. Grooves in the tree bark reflect moonlight to imply movement. Again, you perceive crawling textures. There's no comforting breeze. Static air holds you in place. You shut your eyes tight in an attempt to dismiss unsettling stimuli. Yet it just makes you more aware of the unnatural stillness in the atmosphere. When you open your eyes, you are met by the gaze of a pair of yellow reptilian eyes hanging in the darkness of the forest opposite, between the trees. You seek a face, but are met with an abysmal darkness. The eyes appear to subtly beckon you with a minute movement. You are stepping forward, approaching the forest. A face begins to emerge in the cold moonlight. You swear you recognize it. But before you can investigate further, you turn to face the truck that runs right into you. You are standing in the middle of the road, after all. You awake face up, lying on a table. Metal meets your body, but it doesn't feel cold, as you would expect it to. An attempt to raise your arms is met with the resistance of restraints tying them down. The same for your legs. The room you're in looks big, but feels small. You're unsure of the scale. You can see opposing corners uniting short walls and a low ceiling. You're in a basement. You lift your head for a better look. Thankfully your head isn't tied down. There's another metal slab of a table beside you, with nothing or nobody laying upon it. Trays stand upon carts, haphazardly scattered around the room. You spot beakers, scalpels, and syringes on these trays, but just ahead of you are a few stairs leading to a raised door. To your surprise, the restraints break easily against a real attempt to resist them. Leather straps are flung into the air, and you leap from the table, reaching the top of the stairs in a swift motion. Your head bumps the top of a door frame as you push it open. You step into a kitchen. Your limbs feel extended. You feel taller than you were before. Although you had to duck through the door, you can still stand comfortably in this room. There's something boiling on the stove. But more importantly, you notice the windows. The view is obscured by a layer of green algae, but you recognize those trees and vines outside. You're in the swamp again. You exit the kitchen through another door and swiftly stride through a narrow hallway into the living room. A man raises from the couch, yet you tower over him. Looking down upon gray skin and yellow eyes, you place your hands upon his shoulders. He looks up at you and cracks a smile, chuckling before saying, "You've been misbehaving." You try to reply, but your mouth stretches across your face in a manner unfamiliar to you, preventing you from articulating any words. You push the man away. He laughs as he slumps back onto the couch he had risen from. You turn and catch your face in a mirror. You don't recognize it. It's scaly and green, with big yellow eyes and reptilian nostril slits. You look down at your palms. Scales glimmer in a thick green-hued, swamp-filtered light. You collapse to your knees. You land in a pitch-black void. A gecko rests in your hands. You stroke it, and it purrs in response. You're crying. What psychedelic hell is this? You close your eyes, hoping the deep black void will carry you away. Sunlight forces your eyes open. You're kneeling in a bed of autumnal leaves. Your hands are empty. Your hands are regular human hands. You quickly touch your face with both hands, to be greeted with the warmth of smooth skin. You leap up to your feet in jubilation, but your body aches. You pause to look around the forest that surrounds you, and realize you recognize it. You immediately dash through the forest, back the way you came. Emerging from the forest's edge into a lush meadow, you are met by your mother. She rushes over to you, and scoops you up in an embrace that tells you that she's been worried sick. You know you're not supposed to wander into the forests alone. She places you back down onto your own 2 feet after speaking. Looking up at her, "What about the swamp?" you reply, without thinking. Mother frowns in response, looking puzzled, answering, "There is no swamp, dear." She holds out her hand. "Come on, let's get you home for lunch." You oblige, taking her hand before the two of you head back home. You don't look back. You dare not mention the swamp ever again. Despite the crash, despite the times you awoke in a cold sweat in your brother's basement, he may tease you for acting like this place is haunted. and you'll keep replaying the crash over and over in your head, well beyond being discharged from the hospital, convinced it was avoidable. But you hold the memory of the swamp for the rest of your life, keeping it as your greatest secret. Another Day at St. Gills by Going Rogue Stories. Maybe it's a good thing all the residents here have dementia. I know it's an awful illness to have, but it saves me and the rest of the staff the trouble of trying to explain all the honestly unexplainable crap that keeps happening around here. I'm the new care assistant at St. Gills Residential Home, and when the girls who already worked here warned me about the hauntings, I thought it was just workplace banter. It's so weird here. And I don't just mean those weird hauntings either. My boss is nice enough, but I prefer her when she isn't happy, to be honest. When she's not smiling, I can't see her needle-like teeth. Mortimer is the maintenance guy, but he needs to maintain better hygiene more than anything. He seems to have a new cut or injury every day, and not little nicks either. I can see the dried blood crusting in his gray beard. It's disgusting. At least he does his job well. He's got everything in his office a resident could need. AV cables, tools, crossbows, whatever you need. I thought St. Gil was short for Gilbert or something, but the maintenance man with the glass eye told me it was short for Guillotino, some ancient demon with a passion for eating only the head of his victims. On my first day, my new boss told me I needed to learn the correct cleansing ritual. I thought she meant the right way to wash my hands, but then she handed me a goat hoof. My second week on the job, a resident passed away peacefully in his sleep. I wish he'd noticed that he died already. We need to clean the room out for the next arrival, but he's still just laying there, transparent and wide-eyed. I wish he'd noticed that he died already. We need to clean the room out for the next arrival, but he's still just laying there, transparent and wide-eyed. My turret, according to the head chef, is the tower. When she told me this, she looked like she had just told me that my dog died. Abby, one of the workers on the night shift, accidentally fell asleep on the job last week. We still haven't found her. We can definitely hear her crying, though, every day at exactly 4 p.m. But hey, it's a living. Well, not for Abby, that is.